Alrighty, welcome back to our second video in the series. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the basics of selecting an airport for departure, selecting an airport for arrival, picking a starting point at the airport and an end point at the airport if you choose to do so. Also, we're going to look at selecting the airplane, putting in some settings for the airplane, and then walking you through how to manually start up the airplane. And that's key. So the first thing we're looking at here is our world map. And from here, we're going to decide where we want to fly. So I'm going to zoom in and let's see, I might look at flying. I tell you what, let's go up to Washington, D.C. and fly out of Reagan International. I've flown out of that airport many a times in my life. So if I select the airport, you'll see I get the option to select this as a departure, arrival, or zoom to details. If I pick select as departure, it will put it in my list up here. This is where I'm taking off, but you will notice that it just assigns me a runway, just a generic runway. And if you do that and you leave it that way, what's going to happen is you're going to start on the runway with everything running, okay? And all you have to do is take the brake off, punch the gas, and you're gone. If, though, you're looking for that true simulation of flying the plane, then you're going to want to start off the runway. You're going to want to taxi to your runway. You're going to want to start your plane up. And every plane has its own startup process, which is so cool that, you know, each plane you get into, you have to learn, how do I start this son of a bitch up? Now, we're going to start off with a very simple airplane. We're going to start off with the Icon A5. Now this is almost as close to driving a car as you could get in the air. This is a really easy plane. I think it's a really good one to start off with when you're really just beginning, because it's very easy to control, it's very easy to take off, very easy to land. It's a great plane for sightseeing because it's slow but easy to maneuver. It'll also land on water, which is cool. It functions as a boat, and we'll look at that here in just a minute. So if I click on the plane, I can actually set up the ATC options, which controls what they call us. So for example, I can put in a tail number. I'm going to put band 1. Oops. Guess it helps if I click in there first. And then I'm going to put in a call sign of Bandit. And then a flight number. This will be band 1. Now you're going to see this on the plane now. You're going to hear them call me Bandit. And you have the flexibility to do this whenever you want. Now, know this. It'll hold this while you're in the game, but when you leave and come back, it resets. Okay? So, I've told you I've selected where I'm going to take off from. Now, let's say we want to go over here to Andrews Air Force Base. That's where I want to land. So I'm going to select this as my arrival. Okay? I want the full view here. I want to start the sucker up. I want to taxi it to the runway. I want to fly it. So for that situation, I don't want to leave it on the runway. So I'm going to go back here to Reagan, and I'm going to hit this down arrow. And I see the different runways, but I also see gate and parking. I'm going to park at the first gate, and that should allow me to have to go through the entire process. I can also say when I land, I would like to go and park at parking spot 9. And what this should do is when I land, it should actually give me guidance to this specific parking spot. Now you'll notice in mine that I have these little blue arrows turned on. They're to help you find your way. You have the option to use those or not use them. You know, if you want that full experience of having to figure out where you're going on your own, you're going to turn those off. I would get totally lost. So I turn them on, and they help point me in the direction. You're going to see that here in just a second. Last thing is you can see my flight conditions. If I click on that, I've got it set to live players, which means it's automatically set to live weather. If I want to change the time of the day or the weather, I have to go to all players or to off, group only. Then I can come down here and do presets or do a custom. But I like the live weather. That's part of the awesomeness of this game. So with that being said, let's go ahead now and let's get into our plane.